Hey guys, Reception here. I want to make a quick video about playing with locked camera. I think playing with locked camera is a disadvantage. If you're running locked camera and you sometimes take it off to do things like scroll around, see what other people are doing, that could be okay. But it's still probably not the best. When you're playing with unlocked camera, you can do that same thing, but also you can set up a camera in an angle like this where you can see the entire lane and you can still move around, and you don't have half your screen taken up by kind of this useless space that you already know is a safe part of the lane. So unlock your camera so you can see deeper into lane, get it to a position you want it, and then you won't necessarily have to move it. Now let's say the enemy immediately like flashes all into me right here. Well, you can just hit spacebar and your camera just instantly snaps back to that safe position, and you can be in the position that a locked camera was in. But you can't do the opposite. You can't be in a locked camera position and be able to watch all of this space for free. All right, so the second thing is when you're playing champion with skill shots, and say you're pacing, you like to pace back and forth. Maybe you're going up and down, back and forth, and trying to get an angle on an opponent while skill shotting them. It's a lot easier to track an opponent when you don't have to account for your own movement. So right here, I can just hit this over and over, but if you're locked camera, yes, I can still hit them, but now I have to move my cursor with them, and there's just more room for error. And if they're an actual player, not a target dummy, you have to actually account for their movement as well as your movement. Because right here, I have to move my cursor a lot to maintain target on them, but I would have to do this twice as much if they were a real player. Whereas if I've got locked camera, I would only have to do it half as fast. You know, I could just follow them, but I don't have to account for my own movement in adjusting where I'm aiming. Okay. Here's another one. It's very, very important. Let's pretend that I am in a fight with this target dummy and I want to EQ him. So if I am playing without a locked camera, I can EQ, 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 EQ. And I can also do EWQ, 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 well, EQW because I fucked it up. But let's pretend that I have a locked camera. Okay, so I can do EQ, 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 EQ. And I landed all four, no problem. You know, you might make some mistakes or whatever, but it's just much more difficult. But here's the difference. If I E and queue up a Q immediately, my Q will hit them. But if I E and I wait a little bit too long, it will miss them. And it's kind of hard to explain, but I can show it better when I'm using the 3 abilities. So with 3 abilities, let's go back and do it one more time. So if I do EWQ, 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 that's about as fast as Ezreal can cast it. But if I lock my camera and I do EWQ, 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 that Q does not go where I'm trying to throw it. And you could counter for this by doing EW, oh, whoops, sorry, hands on the wrong keys, EW, and then do a Q, EW, and then do a Q. Whoops, I threw that W out wrong, but let's try it. EW, Q. You can still do the combo. It's just that now you have to aim at 2 different targets instead of the one target. Because I'm Eing to this position, and while I'm Eing there, I am throwing this skill shot. So I go EW, and that hits. And then I have to hit a second target, which is straight below me. Then I can do the same thing, W, and then Q. So I throw my first skill shot from this direction. I'm throwing that, but it actually gets thrown out after I E, because I'm buffering the input. So I do EW, and then I have to Q, So I'm shooting at 2 targets there. One is moving with my movement ability. And if you play unlocked camera, you E, W, Q at the same target. And it's just much easier. And I'd ask you guys to try this out. If you're a locked camera player, take a character like Ezreal and do this drill that I'm doing here, where you E above the target and do WQ, E, do WQ. And you can't tell me that it's easier to do with a locked camera. It is so much harder to do because you have to target different parts of your screen all at the same time in order to land the combo. Additionally, I think that there's a lot of players that want to they want to just play with a lock camera because it's just easy. So if we turn on the minions here, they're doing this because they're not doing things like watching Baron. They're not doing things like coming down and watching Dragon. And when they're in lane, they're not watching what their lane opponent's doing. They're sitting here and they're going, okay, I'm going to try to hit this minion. Okay, I got it. Don't have to worry about controlling my camera. And if you don't have to control your camera, maybe it's a lot easier to land your CS. Because you don't have to worry about things like moving your camera constantly through lane. You just have to worry about what's right ahead of you. And you kind of get in this zone where you stop thinking about where's their jungler, right? If you're playing unlocked camera and you're like, I want to come up and hit this tower, you're thinking to yourself, about here, you're thinking to yourself, where are they? Are they in the top jungle? If they are, I want my camera like here, right? If they're down by Dragon, you want your camera like here, right? And so you're already just naturally thinking about where are the enemies. And if you ever make a mistake, again, you can just hit spacebar and you snap right back to where you would have been if you were playing locked camera. So I think a lot of locked camera players are playing characters like Misfortune, characters like Garen, who don't need to see the entire lane to play their character. You're playing something like Camille, or you're playing something like Caitlyn or Ezreal, you really do need to see the entire lane in order to make judgments about where to throw your skill shots, where to move, how to use your ult, etc. And you know, on locked camera, you can come up here and you can press your ult, and it sort of works. You know, you can sort of line it up here like this on locked camera, but it's just so much better to unlock your camera and you can drag it exactly where you want it and then say, okay, I want to land it there, and try to steal your top laner's cannon minion, you know, because that's what really gets them mad. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys some advice on, if you haven't tried playing without locked camera, give it a shot. There are players in Challenger using locked camera. I don't think there's a lot of them, and I do think they're playing at a disadvantage because typically your champion pool has to be a little bit smaller. You have to play champions that have a little bit less mobility, and these big combo champions like, say, Akali or Ezreal are a lot more difficult to play when you're playing with a locked camera. So thanks for watching. Hope this helped. Please leave a like and comment on my video, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye bye.